Hi friends, today we are going to continue with grammar skills. Last time we had done about transformation of sentences where we discussed in detail about simple sentences, complex, compound. Now today you can call it as transformation also, but the main topic is direct and indirect speech. Now what is it? What is direct and indirect speech? This is what somebody speaks or says while conversing, then what is written down, or when another person talks the same thing about what the first person has said. Now, indirect speech is also known as reported speech. Now, to do it, we follow certain strategies. One more thing, if you notice, while speaking and reading books or newspapers, you will see always we are using either direct speech or indirect speech. Now the strategies for changing or transforming direct into indirect is that direct speech is spoken in the present tense, and while changing it into indirect, we use past tense. And if the sentence direct speech is written in past tense, then we use past perfect. Of course, in certain words, you cannot change. Now, let's see some examples to understand this. We start with the direct speech. The first sentence, he said, comma, in inverted commas, I'm going now. Close the inverted commas, but before that, finish the sentence with a full stop. Begin with a capital letter and close it with the full stop, and what you are talking, that should be in the inverted commas. Now the same thing can be changed into indirect as he said that he was going then. This is present continuous tense. Next one, we are writing in or speaking in present perfect. He said, comma, in inverted commas, my brother has gone there. Full stop, close the inverted commas. Now indirect speech, he said that. There's no punctuation mark, no comma, no inverted commas, if you notice in the indirect speech. So he said that his brother had gone there. This is present perfect, where indirect speech is in past perfect. Then next, she said, I have been going since a month. She said, then comma, then in inverted commas, I have been going there since a month. Now this, in indirect speech, she said that she had been going there since a month. Now what do you notice in these sentences? The direct speech is mostly in present tense, and indirect speech is in past tense, whether past continuous, whether past perfect, or perfect, past perfect continuous. So from direct to indirect, we are changing from present to past. Secondly, in the direct speech, we use punctuation marks. In indirect, we are not using, excepting capital letter and full stop. Then next is certain words change. In direct speech, now becomes into indirect as then. This into that. Today into that day. Tomorrow into next day. Yesterday into the day before. Like this, as you continue to use it, it will come to you automatically. Now besides these examples, some more thing we have to see. If the direct speech is in past tense, then we can change it into past perfect or past perfect continuous. Like for example, he said that I went there. Full stop and close inverted commas. So he said that he had gone there. So went changes into direct speech we are using past tense went. So indirect speech went changes into had gone. Same way you can do for past perfect continuous. Means past continuous can be changed into past perfect continuous for indirect. Now, but there are certain words which cannot change. For example, will changes into would, that is in future tense. Can changes into could. May changes into might. But must is same for present tense and past tense. So here when changing from direct to indirect, we have to use had to. Like for example, she said, I must go now. So it will be, she said that she had to go now. Because there is no past tense of must, it remains the same. So you see how direct speech can be changed into indirect, and vice versa, indirect can be changed into direct speech. Now there are certain universal statements which remains the same. For example, she says, comma, in the inverted commas, the sun rises in the east. Full stop, close inverted commas. So in indirect speech, she said that the sun rises in the east. Rises remains rises only because this is a universal fact. It doesn't change. Now we can see that there are certain other types of sentences, like for example, which we had already discussed in the types of sentences. There is exclamatory sentence, there is imperative sentence. Now see, when we are speaking or writing, the direct speech we say, now she exclaimed with joy, comma, and then in inverted commas, how nice. Put an exclamatory mark and close the inverted commas. So how nice, only two words we are using in the direct speech. Now in indirect speech, we have to make it into a full statement, into a full sentence. For example, he exclaimed with joy that it was very nice. How changes into it was very nice. So exclamatory words, whether it is one word or two word in direct speech, but in indirect speech it has to be changed into past tense. The sentence should be in past tense and also complete sentence. Then we have imperative sentence. She said, comma, in inverted commas, please pass that bowl of rice. Full stop, close the inverted commas. So instead of please, you can use the word requested, where you need not use said. You can directly say she requested me. So she requested me to pass the bowl of rice. Now remember, we had done before that when there is infinitive, that is to plus a verb, the verb doesn't change into past tense, it remains present tense. So she requested me to pass the bowl of rice. Now this is request sentence. There is another type of order sentence, imperative sentence, that is order. She said, open the door. She said, comma, open the inverted commas, open the door, full stop, close the inverted commas. So now you can change into indirect speech by using infinitive. So she ordered to open the door. Now here it becomes indirect speech. So thus you see, my friends, direct and indirect speech, if you observe, they are already being used when we are talking or when we are writing. For example, in dialogue, in communication, we are always using direct speech. And the other person talks, when you are talking the same thing to another person, then indirect speech. And when you're writing also, either we use, for example, stories and all, direct speech or indirect speech. And also remember that when you are talking about somebody's sentence to another person, same word to word, then we always use quotation marks because it is another person's speech. not ours. So this is a very important chapter. You have to do continuous revision and remember the strategies. One is the using past tense when you're changing direct to indirect. Another, you have to change the words like now into then, this into that, today into that day, tomorrow into the next day. Like these words you have to remember when we change the whole sentence from direct to indirect. An exclamatory sentence has to be a complete sentence when we are talking in indirect speech. And of course, in imperative, we are using infinitive. Universal statements remains the same, no change. And if the direct speech is in past tense, then we have to use past perfect. So these are the certain points you should remember. As you practice, you'll come to know, and it will happen automatically. Already you are using all these things when you're talking, especially used in dialogue writing, in communication skills, writing skills improve, grammar skills improve, even reading skills improve. So all these are necessary when we are talking in direct and indirect speech. So thank you. We will meet soon with another topic. Thank you once again.